Hey everybody, I had a request from Mr. Koenig, DeForest, to show him how I do my dungeon tiles. So he asked me if I wanted to go ahead and just like post it up on Facebook in the video. So I was like, hey, might as well. So first thing, this is just going to be basic cardboard dungeon tiles, nothing fancy. Just going to go over a few things on how we do it. Excuse me, I don't do any video editing because I don't know how. But looking here, bear with me. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go over materials. First thing, either get yourself a box cutter or get yourself a utility knife. I started out with a box cutter and it was doing alright, but it just dulled too quickly. So I invested a little bit in a nice Cobalt box cutter, or not box cutter, utility knife, and been very, very happy with it. Haven't had to change out the blade or do whatever with it. Next is just get yourself a cheap pair of scissors. I think these are like $1 or $2 at Walmart. It's just really for trimming up and maybe cutting a few of the borders. Next thing, mechanical pencil, makes fine lines easier to read. Measurements, everything is revolved around measurements and numbers here. So I got myself a square because it's nice to be able to go, okay, I can line it up here, I can line it up here, alright, this is my line. So, nice metal one, good quality. Next is, the cardboard that I do use is a double layer corrugation. You can see on that one, 2 layers. That way if you have to dig into it a little bit, you can, and it's really, really nice to do. Next is, well, like I said, this is for the borders around the dungeon tiles. Next, I went ahead and pre-drew out everything, but I'll go a little bit in detail about it. These lines over here, this is actually 4 inches by 3/4, and here's why. Each of these tiles in here is a 2x2. Each of these over here for the border is 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8, 3/8, 3/4. So 4 and 3/4 both ways. Just makes it simple, makes it easy. Not too bad. So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, utility knife does make it a lot easier than a box cutter. So if you got a little bit extra money, I'd say invest in that. First thing, you're going to make several passes, otherwise you're going to rip the cardboard. But making several passes, you get a little bit deeper each time, so you don't hear anything cut at all. Another thing, real quick. This right here is just a cutting mat that I got once again at Walmart. Fairly cheap. It's worked out really well. See, I've got some paint on it, and there's a lot of scratches and dentions, but nothing has hit my table yet. So I'm happy with it. I do want to thank, once again, DeForest for asking me to do this, because I've been wanting to do it for a while. Get on like YouTube, live stream, do stuff like that. So he just kind of gave me the little nudge that I wanted and needed in order to get the stuff done. So my cuts aren't perfect, but they're good enough for what we need to do it for. I'm not gonna, like I said, I'm not gonna do any editing or cutting out. I'm still learning how to do all that type of stuff. So, excuse me, I'm suffering from some allergies here. Next, glue gun. This is what the wife had. I'm fine with it. Nothing, no problems with it. When you're lining your borders, though, start with one, line it up at the edge, take your pencil, and just mark about where the edge is. You'll be fine. Now, it's easier to use scissors on these than the box cutter, because the box cutter takes a while to cut through. It does get a cleaner cut, but any tiny little problems that you run into, it's a pretty good size. You can feel around the edges, line it up. Maybe need to trim off just a little bit more. But any problems that arise between like meshing up with the borders, paint fixes all. So all you have to worry about is make sure you got some decent paints, and I'll go over those in like the next video or something like that. With projects like these, you will use a lot of glue, I found out. Let's line this up, mesh it. Okay, let that set. You want to do each one individually, because if you start marking out all of them, you're going to have overhang by 3/4 of an inch on several areas. Also, use, or not use, but pre-cut a lot of pieces. I'll show you what I'm talking about here in just a minute, as soon as I cut this. But I pre-cut, and I've got down here in my little drawer a bunch of the borders. It just makes life so much easier instead of having to stop in the middle of it and just go, go, go. So, once again, I apologize for not editing. I'm still new to the streaming thing and recording. So, don't be afraid to use a lot of glue. The hot glue does cool off very quickly. So see, it's starting to come together. Next piece, I'm going to make it for a doorway, so that way I don't waste a lot. And I apologize about all sniffling. I've got some pretty bad allergies going on right now. By measuring everything out just makes life so much simpler. Okay, that piece of marks lines up right with the door, and once again, makes it so much easier if you pre-cut a lot of stuff, so you don't have to stop in the middle of it. Fluff up the edges a little bit just to make it more of an even look. Alright, almost done. And voila. So you see we have here, sorry about the video skipping. So we've got 4 layers of corrugation. And if you want to cut into any of these, like I said, you can mess with it, and I'll show a little bit later on how to do that. So with that, you can make a bunch of different types of pieces. Like I say, I keep all my extras down here in this little drawer. I got 2x1s. Once again, 2x2s, L shapes, long corridors. I have a 3x3 room down here as well. But this is just for the cardboard. I also do some with the styrofoam. Let's grab one of those pieces. We got one of those right there, which has got some texture to it. I do a high gloss on my foam, just because I like them shiny. But I do a lot of other stuff, just having fun with it. Finding what I see on like YouTube and maybe modifying it. Just having a lot of fun with everything that I've done. Finding out some people make some things, and then I'll go and I'll put some new stuff added to it. I have wooden planks versus the traditional ladder. These are just toothpicks and tongue depressors cut in half. You can find pieces that will be measured to size and they'll be more accurate, but I prefer the rough edge look. See, they're just tongue depressors and I paint them, which is something I'll go over in the next video. But once again, thanks to Forrest for calling me out on this, getting me wanting to do it even more. So that's basically it. Next video will probably either go over the foam, or I think we'll probably go over the foam and how to do it, because there's a lot more detail into that than this cardboard, but the cardboard's so much simpler and it's easier. So yeah, take care.